Okay, just to pick up where we left on the lecture the other day, I just want to go through this slide on the nitrogen cycle and the role of different types of microorganisms. So what we'll do is we'll start down here with ammonium and the process that is characterized by these clear white arrows here. So this is the process of nitrification. So it's used by Nitrosomonas, Nitrobacter, and Nitrococcus to generate energy by chemolithotrophy by oxidizing reduced forms of nitrogen, ammonium, in the presence of molecular oxygen. So this process is generating metabolic energy for these bacteria in the presence of oxygen and in the absence of organic carbon. Now, the purple arrows are kind of the opposite process. That's denitrification, that is reduction of nitrate, which is being used as an electron acceptor in the process of anaerobic respiration. So this occurs in the presence of organic carbon, but in the absence of oxygen. So many enterobacteria and also soil bacteria like Pseudomonas denitrificans will use nitrate as an electron acceptor and will produce dinitrogen gas, nitrogen gas. Other bacteria that can use nitrate as an electron acceptor can reduce it all the way back to ammonium. So that's the role of Desulfovibrio and some bacteria of the genus Geobacter. So this is denitrification, which occurs, as I said, in the presence of organic carbon and in the absence of molecular oxygen. Now, another thing that occurs, which is also extremely important, is the assimilation of inorganic nitrogen into organic nitrogen. So amines, amino acids, and nucleotide bases. So many bacteria, almost all, can reduce nitrate to ammonium and then assimilate this ammonium into amino acids. Now, assimilation of nitrogen gas, nitrogen fixation, is a very much more difficult process which requires the input of a lot of metabolic energy, and only few bacteria can perform this. So cyanobacteria are nitrogen fixers, and also the bacteria that are symbiotes with leguminous root nodules, okay, root nodule bacteria like Azotobacter. So this gives you organic nitrogen. And then the organic nitrogen, what happens to it when organisms die? Well, what can occur is that if organic nitrogen compounds can be used in fermentation process by some anaerobic bacteria, and fermentation of amino acids will produce ammonia as one of the fermentation products. So we've gone all the way back to inorganic nitrogen in the form of ammonium through the fermentation of amino acids. Now the last process on the slide here is the anamox, which is for anaerobic ammonium oxidation. Now this process was discovered in 1999, so just a little bit less than 25 years ago. And basically, bacteria of the family of planktomycetes can use ammonium as the electron donor and nitrite or nitrate as the electron acceptor, and then both simultaneously reduce and oxidize, or rather oxidize this ammonium to nitrogen gas. Now, this is an important process in ecosystems because it results in the loss of nitrogen in a kind of biologically available form. That is, through this redox reaction, you get nitrogen gas formed, and nitrogen gas is very, very difficult to fix back to organic nitrogen. So the Anammox bacteria result in a loss of biologically available nitrogen for most organisms. And that's important in anaerobic environments, under the sea, and also in soil. So in the continental shelf, underwater environments, this apparently can result in the loss of maybe up to 40% of ammonium and nitrate. And in agricultural production in fields, it can also be a significant cause of the loss of assimilable nitrogen. And that's kind of important, especially because one of the most frequently used fertilizers is ammonium nitrate. So if you put ammonium nitrate in fields, this is like providing nitrogen for plant growth, but it's also just feeding the Anammox bacteria that live in the soil in the kind of aerobic anaerobic interface, and this can lead to rather less efficient use of the nitrogen that's present. Okay, so a lot of things going on with the nitrogen cycle, with different organisms involved at different stages, and one of the most important things that determines which way nitrogen oxidation and reduction is going to work is the presence of molecular oxygen. And these processes are exploited every day in wastewater treatment plants. So when our water comes out of the sewers, we can't just like put it directly back into rivers and lakes, because it's got a lot of organic matter and it's got a lot of organic nitrogen compounds in the form of urea. And if we put these back into a freshwater lake or even into the sea, then it's going to give, well, mostly it's a problem in freshwater, because what's going to happen is that these, also there'll be an infectious risk, because some of the bacteria, want to be eating them. That's one of the main things. But also in terms of ecology, you don't want to be inputting a lot of organic carbon and organic nitrogen into a freshwater environment, because this will be used up very, very quickly by microorganisms, which will use up all the available oxygen in the water, and then the lake or the river will become anoxic and all the fish will die. So it's very important to remove organic matter and organic nitrogen compounds from wastewater before it's like put back into the water system. So the way that this generally works is by treating the water in 3 separate tanks. So the first tank is the primary sedimentation tank. So a lot of the solid material will sediment out, but this tank is left without stirring, so you have an anoxic environment where fermentation will occur. So any organic carbon which is present will be fermented. Okay, any organic carbon that's still present in the liquid phase will be fermented. That will release CO2, so you get rid of the organic carbon, but it will also release ammonium, either through fermentation of urea, the amino acids, or the use of any available nitrate as an electron acceptor in anaerobic respiration. The second step is then to take off the liquid at the top, which contains this excess ammonium, and put it into an aeration tank. So here you have air bubbling through the liquid, and you have a liquid where you don't have any organic carbon left, but you've got ammonium. So this is going to stimulate the growth, or provides good growth conditions for these nitrifying bacteria, which are going to fix carbon dioxide and oxidize the ammonium into nitrate. So these bacteria will grow, also sediment out, and then the final step is to put this back into a final sedimentation tank, so the bacteria will sink to the bottom. And once again, any organic carbon that is available will be used by bacteria that perform anaerobic respiration using the nitrate that's been formed in the previous step as the electron acceptor. So in this case, the nitrate will be oxidized to nitrogen gas, which bubbles off. So the bacteria performing this step are Pseudomonas and Alkaligenes. So with these three steps, you get all the organic carbon and organic nitrogen compounds oxidized to CO2 for the carbon and denitrified into nitrogen gas, which is released. And then this water, it's been successfully cleaned up and can be released back into river systems. So that's an application of different bacteria involved in nitrogen cycling to keep our water clean.